Welcome to Season 2 of The Animal Highlight. This season is focused on animals and sound and has been extracted from Season 4 of the Animal Turn podcast, which was originally aired in 2021. In this season, I'm joined with a co-host, and I'm delighted. It's Hannah Hunter, who's a friend and colleague of mine from Queen's University. Hannah is a PhD candidate in the Geography Department at Queen's University and an active member of the Sonic Arts of Place Laboratory at Queen's University, which is also a sponsor of this season. Her research explores the intersections of animals, sound, and extinction, and Hannah is particularly interested in the intersection of how we can build relationships with distant and lost beings through sound, and how sound might be a potent force for representing and challenging the fourth mass extinction. In this episode, we're talking all about rhythmic Indri lemurs. Welcome back to the Animal Highlight, everyone. So, Hannah, what are we talking about this time?
Today we're going to talk about the Indri lemurs. I know, a bit random. We didn't talk about them in today's episode. But the last two episodes, we talked about European and American species, so I thought it would be fun to go a little bit further afield. And I didn't know anything about lemurs beforehand, so I learned some fun things I'm going to share with you all today.
Well, I like, whenever I think of lemurs, I think of Madagascar, right? Of course,
right.
I mean, maybe it's my generation, but I like to move it. That's literally what was his name? I forget. What was the name of the, was it Maurice? I think it was Maurice.
Maybe Maurice, yeah. I think so.
Move it. Yeah, that's literally, that's what I know about lemurs, so I'm looking forward to what you have to say.
Well, Indri lemurs are a critically endangered species of lemur, which are found only in Madagascar. And Madagascar is home to huge numbers of endemic lemurs. And in fact, Madagascar is pretty much the only place that you might find a wild lemur, save for some tiny neighboring islands. So hence their foregrounding in the Madagascar film series. And the Indri lemur is the largest of the lemurs. It's about 60 to 70 centimeters long, or about the size of a small child. They're a striking black and white. They have long arms and legs that you might expect from a lemur, and they almost seem to fly. They travel from tree to tree, and because they have these really long arms and legs, they can really propel themselves. And they look a bit like dogs or teddy bears, but they're actually primates and related to humans. So Indri lemurs also have incredibly cool songs, so that's what I'm going to talk about today. They sound a bit like the shriek of a balloon quickly releasing air. Others say it sounds like the cross between a humpback whale and a crying baby.
Oh, goodness.
And while I was reading all these descriptions, I was thinking about something that you and Mickey talked about how before the advent of recording technologies, the ways in which people would describe birdsong. And I was thinking that, even though we can record them, that descriptive quality hasn't gone away. There are still times you have to describe an animal sound. But in these descriptions, they're kind of sounds like one, so like a humpback whale or like a crying baby, rather than phonetic. But here's my phonetic attempt to describe the Indri song. It's it's an ooh-ah-ah-ooh. That's how I describe it.
Ooh-ah-ah-ooh.
Ooh-ah-ah-ooh. That doesn't do it
like
justice. It's a lot more dramatic.
Okay.
I don't know if we're going to play the sound. If I play it from, can you hear that?
Huh.
So you can kind of get that like balloon escaping sound from that. Yeah.
Like when you hold the top of the balloon kind of open a little, right? And you like let the air out really slowly. Yeah, for sure. It's interesting.
They have laryngeal air sacs, which make that sound. So I don't know that much about laryngeal air sacs, but I imagine the balloon sound kind of comes from that inflating and deflating.
Wow.
But yeah, very striking sounds. And what's interesting, especially about them, is they are the only kind of lemur that can sing. So yes, that's counted as a song. And what's funny about that is that every time you read about the Indri lemur's song, the word song is kind of in scare quotes, because people are kind of struggle to call that a song. But it is technically a song. Other lemurs do make sounds like barks and hisses, but only the Indri has a song. And they're actually one of the planet's loudest mammals. The sounds can be heard up to 1.2 miles away. They were described, so the song pattern of the Indri lemur was described by a bioacoustics researcher in 1986. And he said that each song is introduced by this communal roar of the Indri group for a few seconds, and then select adults will begin singing together in carefully synchronized manners. There are several functions to these songs, which include finding sexual partners and establishing territoriality and group identity. But how Indri lemurs came into my purview was a recent article in the New York Times, which described some research from researchers in Madagascar and the University of Turin, who actually found that lemurs have rhythm. So this is really cool.
Move it.
So the Madagascar film, what's the word I'm looking for? They envisioned that this would come. You know,
okay. They knew.
But this is actually the first time that a mammal other than humans have been found to have rhythm. So this is like a huge kind of discovery. So what the researchers did is they recorded sounds from about 30 animals for 12 years. So this is some bioacoustic research in the flesh. And they searched these songs for rhythmic features that are found in human music. So they found examples of the 1-1 rhythm and a 1-2 rhythm, which the lead researcher said are the same rhythms that can be found in the first verse of We Will Rock You, if that helps. Anyone think about that rhythm structure?
We will rock you. Rock you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that would be the 1-2, I think. But yeah, so the researchers suggest that lemurs actually do have a sense of this beat. This isn't just us kind of searching for this rhythm in their structure. And they think that it might be like through learning more about this, they might find why humans are able to find rhythm as well. But yes, this is cool because musical cognition is one of those things that kind of feeds human exceptionalism. Like we think we're the only ones who can make music. But seeing how other mammals are capable of it too might kind of help us appreciate them a bit more. And I don't know, maybe restore some urgency to halting the Indri lemur's extinction, because it is quite urgent. The species is critically endangered due to agricultural habitat loss as well as illegal hunting. But yes, very cool, suave, singing, rhythmic lemurs for you today.
That's terribly sad, and it makes me think a little bit about in season 2 when we spoke about animal culture, right? Like music and dance, they're cultural elements. They're things that we attribute to culture. So these lemurs have a particular way of singing and dancing, which is really quite something. Thank you so much for teaching us a bit about lemurs, and I hope that everybody has I Like to Move It stuck in their heads right now. But that's it for this episode's Animal Highlight. Thank you so much. Thank you to Animals in Philosophy, Politics, Law and Ethics for sponsoring the Animal Tone podcast. Thank you also to the Sonic Arts Studio and the Sonic Arts Place Laboratory, who were sponsors for the 4th season of the Animal Tone podcast that was focused on animals and sound, where, of course, these animal highlights were extracted from. A big thank you also to Hannah Hunter for co-hosting this season of the Animal Highlight with me. This episode was produced by myself, edited by Christiaan Mentz, and the logo and episode artwork were created by Rebecca Shen. This is The Animal Highlight with me, Claudia Hirtenfelder.